When it comes to relationships, all of us have a box, an invisible box of hopes, dreams, and desires. If you're single and not dating anybody, this is a very undefined box. The things in this box are very undefined for you. But as you move into a relationship, or as you think about moving toward a significant relationship, these become more defined. When we think about the future, we all have some hopes, dreams, and desires as it relates to this stuff right here. Money, we're going to have a lot of money, or we don't need a lot of money, or, love will keep us alive. You're going to live in some sort of thing. You're going to rent, you're going to lease, you're going to purchase. You're going to keep driving the sports car forever. Maybe you'll talk him or talk her into trading her sports car for something, more practical. You probably, when you think about your future, you want to have a child. If you're an only child, you're thinking, I don't want to have an only child. I want to have some children. And why not just have a basketball team? So you've got some hopes and dreams as it relates to those things, right? You got a mental picture of what scheduling, in a relationship is going to be like. I mean, there's hopes and dreams and expectations as it relates to time. And then there's hopes and dreams as it relates to the calendar. And this was a big discussion for us too, because Sandra, she was so fair. She said, I only want 3 holidays and your family can have all the rest. She said, our family will spend Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter with my family. And you get Halloween, Groundhog Day. So, but you sort of have a picture of how all of that's, this is how it's all going to work out. This is how, we're going to kind of live the dream. And then, every guy has some idea of what he hopes and dreams that his wife will not wear to bed. And she's thinking, but he just wants me to be comfortable. He doesn't care. He accepts me just the way I am. He's going to accept me just the way I am, that those sorts of things won't even matter. And then, of course, there's conflict resolution, because you've got to resolve conflict in a marriage and or in a relationship. Initially there's conflict in just about every relationship. And so the expectation is, or the thought is, well, we'll just talk it all out, get everything out on the table. And maybe somebody else is thinking, no, that's how you hurt people's feelings. You don't say everything that's true. You just make sure that what you say is true. One person says, will you raise your voice? I grew up in a family where we raised our voice, we yelled and screamed, but we got it all out and we were all good at the end. No, we don't raise our voices, because raising our voices is insensitive. So we're just going to, that's not how we're going to resolve conflict. And then some guys are thinking, conflict resolution? I kind of thought that's what sex was for. Then there's this big one that I don't even have something to illustrate it. And that's basically, how are we going to treat each other? You may have never defined it. In fact, I think most people don't. But you have a pretty clear expectation about how you will be treated in this very, very significant relationship. If she loves me, he would never. If he loves me, he'll never. Now, there are several things that impact what we put in our hopes, dreams, and desires box. And we all have a box. There are several things that impact that. One of the things that impact that is what we've seen and what we've heard. What you've seen maybe in other relationships, what you've seen modeled, what you saw with the folks next door, what you've read, what you've seen in culture. But primarily, the thing that impacts what we put in our box is really what we've experienced. And for many of us, it's what we experienced in the home we grew up in. That our hopes and our dreams and our desires, and this is such a big deal, and it's complicated, and it's emotional, but most of our hopes, dreams, and desires are a response to what we grew up in and what we grew up around. We are either trying to avoid something or we're trying to recreate something. And maybe it wasn't your parents. Maybe your older brother or sister has like a fabulous relationship and you're like, that's the kind of relationship I want to have. But even in those situations where we are trying to recreate something great, even in those ideal situations where we're trying to recreate something that's healthy, that's worth recreating, in the middle of all of this is me. Because these are my hopes, and these are my dreams, and these are my desires. And at some point in the relationship, while you're dating, once you get engaged, maybe at the altar, maybe a month after you're married, maybe a year after you're married, at some point along the way, we can't help ourselves. We essentially take our box of hopes, dreams, and desires, and we say, here, make them come true. Make them come true. This is what I always dreamed it would be like. This is what I hoped it would be like. But the challenge is, and the problem is, and the tension comes, when we hand somebody our box of hopes, dreams, and desires, it doesn't feel like hopes, dreams, and desires to them, does it? To them, it feels like expectations. To them, it feels like a weight. Expectations are simply this: a strong belief that something will happen. That may not happen right now, but it's going to happen in the future. Isn't it, honey? Isn't it, honey? Isn't it, honey? That attempting to recreate or avoid something from the past. Anytime we attempt to recreate or avoid something from the past, it transforms hopes, dreams, and desires into expectations. Expectations create, in any relationship, expectations create a debt-debtor relationship. In other words, whenever I put all my hopes, wishes, and dreams on you and expect you to do something for them, in that moment, I live under the assumption that now you owe me. See, I've committed my life to you, you've committed your life to me, or we're moving toward committing our lives to each other, which means these are my hopes, dreams, and desires, and now that I'm handing them to you, this is what you owe me. The other thing about this whole debt-debtor thing, a debt-debtor kind of relationship, it actually eliminates the possibility of unconditional love. Because if you owe me, you can't love me. In fact, owe me eliminates love me. If I owe you flowers, if I owe Sandra flowers, it's Valentine's, we're the flowers. Okay, here's the flowers. All right, well, we're back to zero. I made it. If I owe you, I can't love you because love requires margin. Love does not do well in an environment of expectation. In an environment of expectation, it's almost impossible to recognize love. In fact, expectations actually remove the margin necessary for love to be recognized and appreciated. You can't even see it when it's happening. Why? Because it's what I expected. It's what I'm accustomed to. It's what I'm used to. She always does. He always does. It's what couples are supposed to do. It's a supposed to do thing. And he's meeting the expectation. She's meeting the requirement. So why would I be overwhelmed with gratitude? And you've eliminated, this is a powerful thought, you've eliminated the potential for love to even be recognized or expressed. And this is why a box full of expectations undermines intimacy in a relationship, because this feels like pressure every single day of the week. So here's the question: what should we do with our hopes, dreams, and our desires? What should we do with them? Do we just pretend? I never wanted children. I don't care how we spend our time. I have no vision at all. We don't even have to live indoors. It doesn't matter to me. What do you do with all of this? Ignore them? No. Deny them? No. The short answer is you keep them in this box. The best way to keep hopes, dreams, and desires in the hopes, dreams, and desires box and out of the expectation box is to ask this question: what do they owe you? What do they owe you? What do they owe you? And happy couples know that the answer to this question is nothing. Happy couples know that they owe each other everything, but are not owed anything in return, which doesn't make any sense. But let me tell you about the happiest couples you know. There's something about them that doesn't make any sense. It's true. They go through hard times and they're happy. It doesn't make any sense. They're not like fabulous, incredible, talented, rich people, and they're just happy, and that doesn't make any sense. There's something about extraordinarily happy couples that's always a mystery, and I'm telling you what part of the mystery is. They live every day under the assumption that they owe each other everything, and they don't expect anything in return. Now, Christians, and I think many happy couples leverage a very, very Christian principle, but happy Christian couples, they take their cue from Jesus' one all-encompassing command. When Jesus was at the end of his ministry years, he got his guys together and he said, now look, when we started off together, there were 630-something Jewish commands. I reduced them down to 2. Now, right before I go, I'm going to reduce them down to 1. Here's what he said: as I have loved you, you're to love one another. In the old days, it was do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Okay, those days are gone. This is better. As I have loved you, So you are to love one another. And then the Apostle Paul comes along after that, and he takes Jesus' overarching single new command that Jesus left his followers with. Here's what he wrote. I love this. He said to all Christians everywhere, he said, walk in the way of love. To which we think of a love song or our girlfriend or somebody that we love. He goes, no, I'm not done yet. Okay, walk in the way of love just as, and throughout Paul's teaching, this is so powerful. Throughout Paul's teaching, you see these two words. Because Paul says, as a follower of Jesus, in every relationship, in every situation, we take our cue from our Savior. So I want you to walk in the way of love. What does that look like? Just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. And happy couples take this idea and they drop it into the center of their relationship, into the center of this dynamic with all the potential tension. And when they do, marriage begins to look like a submission competition, a race to the back of the line, which sounds miserable, which is why so few try it. But those who do enjoy it. It's one of the things that happy couples know. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you check out the links on your screen for what to watch next, and check out the description below, where we are going to provide you with free resources designed to help you make better decisions and live with fewer regrets. And again, thanks for watching.